It was the moment that had McLaren fans on the edge of their seats, and then, in a blink, it slipped away. Just as Lando Norris seemed poised to chip away at Max Verstappen's championship lead, Red Bull's sister team struck. A perfectly timed pit stop for Daniel Ricciardo, fresh tyres, and a record-breaking fastest lap robbed McLaren of a crucial point. But was this just a racing strategy, or something more calculated? The frustration from McLaren's team boss Andrea Stella and CEO Zak Brown was impossible to ignore. They're now calling for an investigation into what many are calling a tactical ambush. This isn't just a story about one point. It's a bold play that's raising serious questions about fairness and integrity in Formula One. Was this a legitimate strategy, or was it an inside job orchestrated by Red Bull to protect their star, Verstappen? Before we dive into the drama, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to smash the like and click the notification bell so you never miss the latest F1 controversies, deep dives, and breakdowns. The Race for Answers starts now, and you won't want to miss a second of it. In a race where he had nothing to lose, Daniel Ricciardo made a pit stop for fresh tyres, and with 2 laps remaining, he delivered. A fastest lap meant little for him, finishing outside the points, but it reverberated through the McLaren garage like a lightning strike. That single lap time was enough to snatch the fastest lap point from Norris, cutting into McLaren's championship chances and further tightening Verstappen's iron grip on the title. Ricciardo's performance, while spectacular, raised eyebrows. Was this an act of sheer opportunism, or something far more calculated? In Formula One, where seconds and strategies are everything, this incident felt like a blow, delivered with precision, a result that left McLaren calling for answers. Andrea Stella, while cautious not to outright accuse Red Bull of collusion, raised critical questions about the ethics of such strategic maneuvers. His concerns centered around the relationship between Red Bull and their sister team, VCARB, highlighting the potential dangers of too much cooperation. In the cutthroat world of Constructors' Championships, where every point matters, McLaren's top brass was adamant. The line between friendly cooperation and unsporting behaviour was beginning to blur. This demand for an investigation into Red Bull's influence wasn't merely about this race, it was about safeguarding the integrity of the sport. The question McLaren posed was simple: can the outcome of future championships be trusted if teams are able to manipulate results through satellite partnerships? For Norris, the Singapore GP was not just another race, it was a chance to close the gap on Verstappen. Every point was crucial, and with Ricciardo's fastest lap, that opportunity evaporated. The margin for error in the championship had already been razor thin, and this move widened it. As Norris crossed the finish line, the weight of that lost point hung over McLaren like a dark cloud. A point here, a point there. These are the building blocks of championship dreams, and for McLaren, that single point may well prove pivotal in the battle against Verstappen's relentless pursuit of another title. On the other side of the paddock, Red Bull team principal Christian Horner was quick to dismiss the accusations. In his view, Ricciardo's pit stop and subsequent fastest lap were nothing more than a standard strategic play. As far as Horner was concerned, Ricciardo was simply maximising his race with fresh tyres. It was nothing personal, and certainly not a calculated move to aid Verstappen. Even Sergio Perez, Verstappen's teammate, hinted at similar strategies being considered for him. Red Bull had toyed with the idea of pitting Perez for a fastest lap attempt, but ultimately decided against it. Still, for McLaren, these explanations only fueled their suspicions that the sister team's involvement went deeper than mere coincidence. McLaren's frustrations didn't stem solely from the result at Singapore. It was about the precedent that incidents like this could set. For Zak Brown and Andrea Stella, the ethical implications were clear. Formula One was at risk of becoming a playground for larger teams to manipulate results through cooperative tactics with smaller, affiliated teams. In a sport that prides itself on fair play, McLaren raised a fundamental issue. Where does collaboration end and unsporting behaviour begin? Brown and Stella didn't accuse Red Bull of breaking any rules, but they did question whether this kind of team cooperation was in the spirit of the sport. McLaren's demand for an investigation went beyond sportsmanship. It also delved into the regulatory framework of Formula One. The fastest lap regulation, which awards a point to the driver with the quickest time, was intended to reward excellence. But what happens when that rule is used as a tool for larger teams to fortify their championship standings? By exploiting this rule, Red Bull managed to benefit without Ricciardo even finishing in the points. McLaren's call for an investigation highlighted a potential weakness in the system, one that could have far-reaching consequences for future races if not addressed by the governing body. As the dust settled, McLaren and Red Bull's top brass seemed to come to a temporary understanding. Zak Brown even posted a photo with Christian Horner on social media, signalling some form of reconciliation. But beneath the smiles, the question remained: had this been the start of something more sinister in Formula One's strategic playbook? For fans, teams, and drivers alike, the Singapore GP's fastest lap controversy raised a fundamental question about the future of the sport. How far will teams go to win? And at what cost to the integrity of the championship? In the aftermath of the Singapore GP, McLaren's call for investigation isn't just about a single point. It's about keeping safe the future of Formula One. The relationship between Red Bull and its sister team now sits under the microscope, with the entire paddock watching closely to see how the sport's governing body will respond. Join the conversation. Share your thoughts on McLaren's demand for an investigation into the RB fastest lap at the Singapore GP. Do you think there should be a review? Let us know your opinion.